In embarking upon the podcast helmed by Dr. Jordan Peterson with Eva Vladingerbroek and Anthony Lee as guests, one stumbles into a veritable quagmire of thought, a farrago of half-baked ideas masquerading as incisive political commentary. Episode 416, an odyssey through the supposed tribulations of farmers under the iron heel of environmental policy and the subsequent rise of populist backlash, is a case study in intellectual obfuscation and reactionary fear-mongering. The narrative spun here is one of the noble farmer, stoically battling against the Kafkaesque machinations of a bureaucratic leviathan. This romanticized portrait of the agricultural sector as an innocent victim of overzealous environmental regulation is not just a gross oversimplification, but a willful ignorance of the complexities of modern agriculture within the global environmental crisis. The plight of the farmer is real, yes, but to attribute it solely to environmental policy is like blaming the ocean for being wet. The contempt for environmental policies, particularly the Green Deal and net zero goals, reeks of a convenient denialism. This simplistic vilification of any effort to address the environmental cataclysm we face smacks of intellectual cowardice. It is a narrative that conveniently ignores the decades of unsustainable practices that have led us to the precipice upon which we now teeter. The argument that these policies are a mere pretext for state control is a boogeyman conjured up to distract from the real issue, our collective unbridled assault on the natural world. As for the populist movements that the podcast seems to lionize, it is essential to remember that the road to hell is often paved with the votes of populism. Populism, in its most distilled form, is the politics of the mob, appealing to the basest instincts, fear, anger, and the longing for a past that never was. It offers simple solutions to complex problems, the political equivalent of a sugar rush, exhilarating but ultimately destructive. In this carnival of misdirected angst and misplaced valor, Dr. Peterson, with his characteristic penchant for grandiose rhetoric, leads his audience not into enlightenment but into an abyss of reactionary thought. It is a performance worthy of a seasoned illusionist, where genuine societal concerns are obscured by a smokescreen of verbose indignation and alarmist narratives. The so-called intellectual rigor championed in this episode is nothing but a thinly veiled attempt to sanctify the banal prejudices of populism, served with a side of ecological myopia. Dr. Peterson, once a credible voice in challenging political correctness, now appears as a Pied Piper of the disenchanted, luring his followers into a quagmire of simplistic solutions to complex problems. In this theatre of the absurd, the audience is left not enlightened, but mired in a swamp of skewed perceptions, fed by the siren song of a narrative that mistakes noise for substance and bluster for wisdom.